Hey guys, it's Rachel and it is Thankful Thursday, and I'm here this week. It's the last week of the rota that has been put together, and I'm going to I am actually going to put one together for next week, and I've just got a few ideas about this, so maybe stay tuned with that. I'm thinking about maybe not having a theme, but mixing it up in terms of the topics that we do for, say, 4 weeks rather than just focusing on one theme. So today we're going to be looking at not so much what we're going to try and plan for 2014, but more what we want, what we desire, what we hope for, what we maybe want to look forward to, rather than having a strict ordered, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. Because like I said last week, that when we do that, we tend to feel disappointed about not having achieved anything or achieved what we hope to. So today I want to try and get you to think about what you desire, what would make you happy, what are the things that inspire you and perhaps drive you towards that. Is there any particular experience you want to go through or have? Is there anything that you think might give you something, rather than a strict ordered, this is what I want to achieve, but a more laid back approach to it, taking each day as it comes in the best way that you can, and trying to put your mindset in a place whereby you're allowing your encounters, you're allowing your experiences to shape you and to help you develop and evolve and move forward, but it not be tied down to regime. Quite often within eating disorders, most of the people who I've known with eating disorders, everything tends to have to go according to a plan, and if that routine is broken, it can be incredibly distressing. And it's about stepping outside of that. It's about taking the risk to say, I don't want to stay trapped in this box. I want to go beyond that. And there's a very interesting piece of writing. It was done years ago by Marja Hornbacher, who wrote Wasted and Centre of Winter and Madness. And she was talking about stepping outside of this circle with recovery, that a lot of us go so far. So we have sort of the illness and we move out. And then the bigger picture of it all is that actual final letting go of your eating disorder, in the same way I have, where you take that risk to just let go and just say, you know what, I'm sick of hitting this same wall. I'm going to find out a way to get over it and get down from it, so I'm on this other side. It's probably one of the most common problems that people come across. And so if you've entered this year, and like a lot of us with mental health problems, eating disorders, we want everything to be right, we want it to be a fresh new start, we want this, we want that. My new year, as I've said before, has been a bit of a disaster, I'm not even gonna lie. And I very rarely start the new year and say this is a clean slate. But I do have friends, and friends who I know want this year to be a better year for them, and there's absolutely nothing wrong in that. There's nothing wrong in wanting a year to be better than the one before, but I want you to be incredibly careful about how you approach that. I want you to have goals, I want you to have ambition, I want you to have desires, but I don't want your whole sense of self-worth, your whole being, to rely on that and to hold you to that, so that if you don't achieve something that you set out to do, that it's not actually the end of the world. And so for me, I am taking a lot of risks. I don't follow any sort of routine. I'm an absolute nightmare for that. I like rebel against it, because for so long everything had to be so fixed. and I never do things on time, very rarely, and it just everything, not disorganized, because I need a degree of order in my life, but I very much learned to seize the day, as it were. And as much as a cliche as that is, I take each day as it comes. I work myself through each day as it comes, and I give myself a break. I'm learning to accept that where I am right now is where I am right now, and whilst there's things that I very much would like to have had, that I'm actually in a very good position this year for doing whatever the hell I want, to be quite honest. And yes, some of that is going to mean a degree of income and money, but also just in my head, it's like my desires for this year are to do with my writing, but it's also to do with me allowing my mind to let go of like rigid and very set in place goals. So by saying, right, I want this by March, April, May, my feel at the moment, my biggest battle with myself is finding a degree of stability. Now, stability for me doesn't come easily, and I very much go like this. I updated my blog the other day, so some of you who may read that may know that. And I have to move with that, and it's something I have to accept, and it's something I have to understand is a daily process for me. I think you need to set yourself goals for the day. I think you need to have an idea of what you want. I think you have to push yourself, push the boundaries constantly. And if you're not a risk taker, I'm not saying that you have to be a risk taker, because we're all different personality traits. We all do things in very different ways, but do something a bit different. Allow yourself to feel something a bit different, to challenge yourself a bit differently. And I think that next week, actually, when I've got some ideas, and what I will show you actually is this book. I think I might have shown you this before actually, but it's called The Drawing Mind. Okay, so it's to do with silencing your inner critic and releasing your creative spirit. So I'm going to do next week, I'm going to do a video on that actually, and I'm going to give you some exercises to do, and then the week after that I will cover something else. But I want you to think about what's different, to think about what's new. So maybe set yourself an exercise that makes you step outside of a plan that you have and orchestrate it in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, that makes you feel a degree of fear, that makes you feel a bit anxious, that makes you kind of, that feeling before you go to an exam, the feeling you get before you get a result for something, that feeling maybe you get when you go to therapy, when you know you're going to be challenged, and try that and open yourself to that. And that's something that I've been working on incredibly hard. I didn't have a set plan for myself or a set goal, but I'm kind of in the back of my mind running through what it is that I want, and I know the type of person I want to be. I know what I want to achieve for myself, but I'm not going to beat myself up if taking those risks doesn't work, because you need to allow yourself to do that. One of the things that first maybe challenged me was writing my dissertation for my degree and doing something completely different that hadn't really been done before. And as amazing as that was, and I was so excited, I was terrified as well. And I think we have to do that. We have to make steps forward. We have to accept that everything isn't going to go to plan, and that there are going to be forces, outside forces, that we have no control over, absolutely no control over. So like, I wake up one day and think that everything's going fine, that my dad's in full health. We wake up the next day and he's hospitalised and could have been paralysed. That came out of nowhere. We have no control over those things. So if you've got yourself a rigid plan, what if things interfere in that, which they're inevitably going to? You might have a bad day, something might happen, you might lose somebody, there might be something that you don't achieve to the level that you wanted to achieve. So maybe have that plan and imagine when you do use pencil and you kind of blur the lines a little bit, so you're allowing yourself some movement. I don't think there's anything wrong with setting goals, setting plans and wanting things, but what I want you to also do is understand that there are going to be things in your life that you have to allow yourself to try, and if it doesn't succeed, if you fail or whatever level, that you take it as a lesson. Okay, so you're never failing. Nothing you're doing in life is failing. You're constantly learning, and I truly believe that that's the point that I've got to now, that I could beat myself up over loads of things, like for real, like so much stuff, but I just take a step back and I just think, right, what can I learn from this? What can I take from this and carry from this? And that might mean tears before bedtime, it might mean listening to music in the car and breaking down, that might be seeing a friend and crying over something, that might mean opening myself up to new things. It was a big thing opening my blog, it's a big thing doing these videos, it leaves me open to criticism. My writing, you know, that leaves me open to so much criticism, but it's in my heart, and it's what I desire and it's what I want, and I have some plans in place. But as I said, you know, they're kind of sketchy ideas, and I know it's not as simple for some people. People, you know, are fixed in jobs, they have to do things in a certain way at times, but make that time for yourself to like think about what you'd like to do for you, where you'd like to take a challenge, you know, what's different, what's stepping outside of your comfort zone, and kind of finding some of those desires and realizing that what you're necessarily sat your straight plan doesn't have to be like that. You can take that time, you can do something different, do something a bit crazy, and, you know, live your life. And there's a really good poem about that, isn't there? And I can't think who wrote it. I think it's not a poem, it's a Naomi Wolf quote, isn't it? To do with just like forgetting everything, worrying about your weight, worrying about, God, you know, have I gained this? Have I done this? Have I eaten too much? You know, fighting your mood, fighting urges to self-harm or what have you, or whatever means of coping, and just letting go. Really letting go and just having some fun this year as well, and let that be in there. Okay guys, I hope that made some sense, and I will be trying to come up with a rota for you next week. So love you loads, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.